What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast. It's Thursday. Well, it's Friday for you. It's Thursday for us. That means it's time to make some picks. I'm Will Brinson. I'm the host of this daily CBS Sports NFL podcast. Joined, as always, by the tan, the resplendent, the wearing a blazer for some reason, Pete Prisco. What's up?
I'm ready to win some games this week. See how confident I am in that? I'm ready to win some games. I'm going to talk myself into it. I'm ready to win some games this week. I'm not confident at all.
Give him 3 seconds. He'll walk it back like Jarvis Landry.
I'm a broken man. The season has broken me. I am loser.
See, he told you.
Yep, I'm loser. I just said I'm a loser.
The other voice you heard, if you're listening to the podcast, R.J. White.
New do for R.J. Going to get
yeah.
It's the same
Which
hair.
you can see if you want to watch the pick show early. If you want our picks on Thursday, for whatever reason, we don't do the Thursday night pick, but if you want them on Thursday, they're up on youtube.com/CBS Sports. Click the video button, go find the green Pick Six logo in the background, and you can watch us on YouTube. We appreciate it if you do both, or if you do one. If you do one, that's fine. I'm not going to hold it against you, but try and do both if you can. And while you're at it, make sure and go to sportsline.com/join and use promo code WHITE.
That's right.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
I was making sure it wasn't promo code.
We're not
RJ.
going to use Brinson.
You could use, I had the second most, well, I think this is internal stuff, but I helped to sell subscriptions. Damn it. Use promo code WHITE. You get your first month for $1. You get all of RJ's picks. You get like Tom Fornelli's secret picks that he only releases on Sportsline. RJ puts up all of his super contest best bets. What are you in the super contest this year right now, RJ?
60%.
That's good.
21 and 14, or whatever it is. Yeah, 21-14.
What do you need to get into the money? About 70%?
Just a little bit over 60%.
Oh, you're hovering. You're hovering.
The pace I try to stay on is 3 per week, and then get an extra point or 2 here and there, and then you get.
You'll rally. You'll rally.
Well,
I think it's going to be a big time rally. I think a 5-0 coming this week.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
I have
And maybe you'll get a lucky cover like Willie Boy had last week with the Titans.
The issue is
cover. The Chargers shouldn't have done anything. Chargers are clowns. They shouldn't have been there. The Chargers suck.
The issue is with my picks. I have my 5 picks. I have them ranked in order, so I know which ones I'm going to take. And then I have more than 5, obviously. The ones that don't make it are also in order. So for the last 5 weeks, if you'd have switched my 5th pick and my 6th pick, extra point, I'd be 9th or something in the contest. It's crazy. Yeah.
Good for you. Let's talk about the standings.
Let's not.
Let's talk about the standings.
There's a lot of football left, though. You know that.
Sure. I'm still in first place, 27-16 after a 4-4 week.
RJ's coming for you, though.
I threw too many picks out there. 8 picks was stupid. Thank goodness the Titans took care of business. Chargers shouldn't have covered. I had too many over-unders. I got away from over-unders this week. 27-16 overall. RJ 4-1. RJ's heating up. I'm telling you, sportsline.com/join. Use promo code WHITE. Or just get his picks on this podcast. 26-19. And then Pete. Oh no. Pete had 8 best bets and went 2-6 on them. 17-21 on the year. But you can turn it around. This is your week.
I'm due. I had too many over-unders last week, too. They all went crappy.
2-2 on our parlay. Oh my God! Has there ever been a bigger lock than the Niners Skins under? It was 0-0 at half, and the over under the second half was 16, and that was a lock because they weren't scoring any points.
What about the Rams and Falcons not going over? That was
disappointing for me.
It was unbelievable. And then the Giants should have been an over.
That was close.
Yeah, that's
49, I think.
Yeah, there were a lot of field goals settled for that. That parlay could have hit. We're due for a parlay. We're due. That's how it works. If you lose a bunch, you're due. It's like.
By the way, I'm the moron who had the Jets on Monday night.
Yeah, that was bad.
Oh, what was I thinking? That was awful. Maybe I was seeing ghosts.
Maybe you were seeing ghosts. I would guess, Pete, that if you're that upset about having the Jets, that you might think about taking the Patriots minus 13 against the Browns. That's the line. We got old Baker Mayfield, another young quarterback, heading to Foxborough. Jarvis Landry has guaranteed a victory. He didn't guarantee it. It's BS, but whatever. It's going to be on the locker room walls. What do you think about this Patriots game, Mr. Prisco?
How the heck can you take Cleveland in this game? I know they're shuffling the offensive line, and they think that's going to fix that offense. But the way that defense is playing, it is truly playing at an elite level. And they throw so many different looks at these quarterbacks. I know 13's a ton. The other thing about Monday night, that was all about the defense for the Patriots. Did you see the interview after the game with Tom Brady?
Mm-mm.
He wasn't happy about the offense. And I think this is going to be one of those games where he gets that offense cranked up again. Getting Sanu will do something, help the passing game, but I'm laying the 13. I can't, they're going to throw every different combination look at Baker Mayfield. His head's going to be spinning.
Well, the offense hasn't looked good at all this year.
No.
They've scored 30 points or more in 6 of their 7 games, and that's just because the defense is scoring over and over and over. But, they get to 30 somewhere or another. I can't play. This game's going to be a stay away. I can't fade the Pats. I do have a stat coming up talking about away teams off a bye is a thing you want to play, and that the Browns qualify here. Patriots trump everything when you're talking about trend.
Right.
So they do. You might say, okay, short week for them, yada yada. They do fine after Monday night games. 8-2 against the spread in their last 10, including 5-1 against the spread at home. After Monday night, so it doesn't matter. Baker leads the league in interceptions. He's going up against a team with 18 picks, and that's allowed 1 touchdown. That's obviously not good if you want to back the Browns. So Cleveland's only hope is for their running game to work, like Buffalo did against New England, and keep the game close. That is a possibility. Running game's good. Chubb's good. I think they're like 4th in rush efficiency. So I'm not going to play the spread. I will lean to the under just because under's been working in Patriots games. Don't see why it wouldn't work here. Under 45.5 is my lean here.
Why wouldn't you take the under on the Patriots? I mean, seriously, why wouldn't? I did a breakdown, and R.J. was kind enough to edit it, and I'm curious what you thought about it, R.J. Presumably, while editing, you read the piece. Basically, could the Patriots? It's not are the Patriots the greatest defense ever because there's a whole, there's half a season plus left. But could the Patriots be in the conversation for the greatest defense ever? And I think they're at least in the discussion. 2 things I'd point out though, Pete, about it. One, the winning percentage of the teams they've played so far is like 23%, which is really bad.
The quarterbacks have been awful too.
So I did the math. I added all the quarterbacks' performances up, right, and created sort of an average on a per game basis, per attempt basis, touchdowns. The Patriots are basically turning every quarterback they play into a less efficient version of 2002 Joey Harrington.
Well, it's a great defense, but I mean, to start talking about it in the conversation as greatest all time is a little early based on what they've done so far. They haven't played anybody. When you use other defenses, which ones did you compare it to? The Ravens of 2000, the 85 Bears. What about was it the 76 or 75 Steelers that had 6 shutouts at one point?
Yeah, you didn't go that far back. It was mostly 2000 and ahead, and more recent, except for the 85 Bears were thrown in there. So.
And then, so the Seattle, one of those Seattle teams?
Did,
Seattle was in there. Yeah, 2012, I think.
2013 Seahawks. 2008 Steelers. Shout out Brian McFadden. 2002 Buccaneers, 2000 Ravens, and 85 Bears. The goal was to get some more modern teams that had to deal with a bunch of passing, but then also to throw in the Bears there because they're the gold standard.
The great thing about the defense is, and if you're going to compare it to the Bears did everything they did with their front. This defense does everything it does mainly with the back. Because they're so creative on the back end, they blitz you and throw different looks at you. The 85 Bears, most people can't even name the corners on that team because they did it with the front. So it's so different, but it's early to be putting them in that conversation.
The great thing about that Bears team is we see how many turnovers New England's generating, 18 interceptions, right, averaging just over 3 turnovers a game. That Bears team averaged more. It was like 3.4, 3.5.
They put the fear of God in quarterbacks. It was unbelievable what they did.
Well, but that's kind of the beauty of it. Not to get off on this tangent, but this is what I find so fascinating is that. So that's what the Bears did. The Bears did that, and then LT came along for the Giants, right? And that's sort of where we got this notion that you have to have the pass rusher, and that the pass rusher is what you build your defense off of. Well, there's that PFF argument this offseason about maybe cornerbacks and defensive backs or coverage might be more important than pass rush, or can coverage create pass rush more effectively than pass rush can create coverage? Well, Bill Belichick was on that ahead of everybody else, and he built out this incredible back end that just locks everybody down. He has literal brothers back there. They have a mind meld going. Stephon Gilmore locks people down. He's got versatile defensive backs who can play all over the place, and I think that when you look at the rest of their schedule, there's the only veteran quarterback they have left to play is Ryan Fitzpatrick. I know Patrick Mahomes is incredible, but Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz, Lamar Jackson, he's a guy that maybe man-to-man is an issue, but Baker Mayfield, all these are young guys in their first, second, third years. I mean, that's going to be tough for these guys against Belichick the way he's pulling the joysticks, right?
Everybody can play every different position. That's the greatness of the defense. They're interchangeable. The McCourties can play safety or corner, and Chung, when he's there, can play linebacker or safety, and everybody's interchangeable. They can do so many different things, and they throw so many different looks at you, and they create. It's not the old adage about I know PFF wants to make a big deal about the secondary creating pass rush. The secondary can help create pass rush, but I'll be honest with you. I'd rather have the pass rush, and then I'll deal with the corner. The way the game is played now, and I go back, I'm going off on a tangent here, but like Ramsey leaving to go to the Rams. If you have one great corner with 2 and 3 receivers now being as good as they are, you can leave that corner over there and just go attack the other guys now. So it's not – I don't believe that. I still think a pass rush trumps the secondary, but what they're doing is their secondary is creating pass rush because they have so many different looks. And they're blitzing a lot. I mean, they come after the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. And those blitzes are what really shook Darnold up. That's why he was seeing
zero coverage. They come after him.
It's not like, I don't remember who had all the picks, but it's not like they were making incredible plays. It's just a ball's floated to you in the end zone, and you just got to catch it.
Well, the one that Gilmore in the middle of the field, it was a terrible throw. He blitzed him, and he was one-on-one. It was just swapped.
That's not coverage. Some of their I'm not going to say that their secondary is bad.
No, it's great.
It's great. And some of their picks are coverage sacks, or coverage picks. But those Darnold picks, he was just throwing it up.
This is the best Patriots defense so far, for sure. We could say that. Mm-hmm. And some of those Patriots defenses with McGinnis and Law and Seymour, they've had great players. This one doesn't have a surefire Hall of Famer on it. It just doesn't. Right now, you can't say that. So that's the difference, I think, between the defenses.
No, I'm with you. By the way, I would take the under here too. I think
I would take the under too. I would take the under too if you want to throw it in as a parlay.
Should we get this party started off the bat?
Let's get it started, man.
All right, let's do it. Put the under in. The Patriots unders are cashing like crazy. Just hope the Browns don't have a defensive touchdown or a jailbreak. It's almost like the 13 is it feels too obvious. Like the Patriots are, I still see how the Browns are going to score, but I digress. Moving along. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Panthers at the 49ers. 49ers minus 5.5. Over under 42. We got a clean sweep, fellas. Everybody likes it.
I don't think you need the points in this game. I think the Panthers are going there and winning the game outright. I think the way their defense is playing, they're coming off a bye. I think they're going to get after that banged up offensive line, get after Garoppolo, choke off the run. I think the Panthers and Kyle Allen are going to San Francisco and winning the game. So if you're going to give me 5.5, bring them on, baby.
Yeah, the only issue is Allen struggles with holding the ball and he fumbles a little bit. And San Francisco has a great defensive line, but I like fading the 6-0 49ers, especially with the middle-of-the-road offense they're playing with. 15th in DVOA, 15th in points per drive. It's a bad spot for San Francisco. They've got an away game on Thursday next. It's not a great opponent in Arizona, but it's still an away game in the next week, and I like fading a team that has to do that. It's a good spot for Carolina. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Away teams coming off a bye are 86, 58, and 2 against the spread since 2011. That's 59.7% cover rate. It's a trend that Warren Sharp, I heard mention on a podcast a few weeks ago, did some digging, looked up a little bit more of the data, and it basically hits almost every year except for one outlier. So San Francisco's defense is great, but I think McCaffrey will be able to run on them. They're 12th in DVOA while they play a lot better against the pass. Even though Carolina can struggle against the run, that's what San Francisco wants to do. They'll need to get out to an early lead, and I think they'll be able to do it as San Francisco tries to play comeback, which isn't their style. So I think if Carolina does get behind, maybe you fade them on a live line. You just kind of load up on whoever's in front and figure that they're going to shut it down. But I do like Carolina coming from being able to get this cover and potentially win, sprinkle a little bit on the money line.
There's a 100% chance that Christian McCaffrey, MVP candidate, don't care what anybody else says, and the Carolina Panthers will be in my moneyline underdog parlay, which came up one game short. RJ and I both missed it by one game. We had the Saints and the Cardinals. Should have done Saints and Cardinals. Now we would have banked.
Yeah, cashed.
Yeah, I added the Eagles. He added the Titans. I will. Can you repeat the stat that it was from Warren Sharp? I know it was on Adam Lefkoe's podcast, the Lefkoe Show for Bleacher Report, but just so people can kind of just soak it in. It's away teams after the bye, correct?
Yeah, away teams coming off a bye are 86, 58, and 2 against the spread. That's 59.7% cover rate.
That's a lot. All right, so away teams after the bye, be looking to target that as we continue on through bye season. We all like the Panthers. Throw it in there with the Patriots under. We didn't get too greedy on the Pats under. No, let's see. Look, here's the other thing I'd say too. Panthers offense has these little satellite weapons in Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel that can get quick throws for Kyle Allen, get the ball out of his hands, neutralize that pass rush. Big challenge for Robert Saleh. And again, like the Panthers receivers too, Moore and Samuel, these aren't big, tall, physical guys that Richard Sherman likes to match up with. They're guys who can give him trouble, and I think that they can, work in underneath if Kyle Allen plays well. And look, Kyle Allen's got to play well too because there's the specter of Cam Newton is breathing down his neck. Eagles at the Bills. Bills minus 1.5, over under 43.5. The Bills coming off a near humiliation against the Miami Dolphins. The Eagles coming off an actual humiliation in Dallas on Sunday night. Pete, what do you think? This is if your boy wants to show out, he's got to show out this game.
This is a weird line to me. It looks a little fishy. You got a team playing 3 straight road games, and they're only getting 1.5. But I'm going to lay the 1.5. I just think Buffalo's defense is going to limit what Wentz does. And I think this is, you mentioned, I think this is the game. In the second half, the Bills were flat in the first half. They looked terrible in the first half. In the second half, Allen played well. I think he plays well here. Look, the Eagles' secondary is awful. It is awful. I think they're going to be able to make plays, so I'll lay the 1.5.
Yeah, the Bills aren't 5-1 good. I don't think they're a 5-1 team. They're neutral value. I disagree with the line that the Eagles are the better team, and so to your point, it's a weird line to me. Philly's dealing with the injuries. That defense has been routinely toasted. They've allowed 24 or more points to everyone but Luke Falk, and I've had my problems with Josh Allen in the past, but I would say he's better than Luke Falk. He's actually doing pretty well in short and medium passes. I think the PFF had a stat where he's actually top quarterback in the league at short and medium passes, so that's encouraging. The Philly offense has largely struggled of late. 2 of their last 3 games, they've been held under 300 yards. Buffalo defense is obviously the top unit in this game. They're 3rd in points per drive, 4th in net yards per attempt. They can shut down a struggling Philly offense and win this game. So that Philly rush D would be my only concern because they were elite earlier in the year, but the last couple games they haven't played that well. So I think Buffalo will be able to run it on them a little bit, and I would go ahead and lay 1.5. It's not that much. I would say the line probably should be at least 3, maybe even 3.5.
I kind of like the Eagles here. Don't really know why. Don't have a good reason. Matchup favors the Bills. Just think it's a desperate Eagles team. That's all. That's all I got. Maybe the Bills try and run effectively and it doesn't work, and the Eagles get loose. I don't know. I just like the Eagles for some stupid reason. I think it's an underdog week coming this week for some reason. Speaking of underdogs, the Cardinals are huge underdogs. The Cardinals.
By the way, hasn't Vegas been killing it?
Most weeks, yeah.
I thought
for like 40 or 50 years now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but this year they've been really killing it, I think.
I think last week favorites did well. But yes, it has been a good year for Vegas. Are you suggesting that this is a
get even week? A get even week.
For who? The public?
No, not with the public.
Yeah.
With my picks. Go with my picks. They're going to be hot this week.
PD Public is on another favorite.
I hate favorites, but I'm not taking these dogs. I'm not taking Arizona in 10.5. Back-to-back road games. The uncertainty here for me is the quarterback situation. Why is Drew Brees even considered playing in this game? You don't need him. You'll win the game with Bridgewater. You'll handily win the game with Bridgewater. Why would he play? What's the point? They got to bye next week.
He's afraid that he's not getting his job back.
No, stop it. Stop it.
I'm just kidding.
And you know what? Brady Quinn said, they could go to the Super Bowl with Teddy Bridgewater. Look, I love what Teddy's done. He's a great kid, but they're not going to the Super Bowl with Teddy Bridgewater. They have a legitimate chance to go to the Super Bowl with a healthy Drew Brees. Let him wait, and I think he will. I think Sean Payton will put the kibosh on that. I think this will be Teddy. Doesn't matter. They're going to win this game by more than 10.5 points.
The line steamed up with Brees possibly playing, I think, is the reason why. It's just too many points for me, though. I would lean to the Cardinals, but I'm not going to play it as a best bet. The Arizona's playing well. They won their last 3. The rushing attack is really rolling. Doesn't matter who's back there, even if it's Chase Edmonds. New Orleans defense obviously has been phenomenal. Less than 260 yards allowed in 4 straight. But the Arizona D has been played better last week with Patrick Peterson back, and they kind of shut down anything the Giants wanted to do and won that game. So the line jumped 3 points off the look ahead. It's too big a swing for me. I think there's a little bit of value on the dog, but it's probably just a stay away. I would lean to the Cardinals, but that's it.
I think I have the Cardinals as a best bet here. I'm a little scared about it, but 10 plus 10.5 points is just too much. And then when you look at what Arizona does when they run the ball, it's not like they're lining up in an I formation and pounding the ball, because the Saints haven't allowed a 100-yard runner in, I think it's like 29 straight games. Shout out Kay Adams for that stat. The problem is the Cardinals like to put a bunch of guys out there, and you've got to defend the pass. I think we're starting to see I mean, I was wrong about the early season. I think we're starting to see Cliff Kingsbury's offense come to life at the NFL level. And Chase Edmonds is a player, man. That dude can play. He's a good.
But he's not better than David Johnson, though. I mean, everybody keeps the other day Brady said, "Oh, he's more versatile than David Johnson." David Johnson was almost a thousand guy.
But he's better than a healthy Chase Edmonds is better than an unhealthy David Johnson.
True. No kidding.
Well, I mean, like,
did you ever realize that a healthy player was better than a banged up player?
Well, it depends on the player.
I mean, come on, Brinson.
Well, sometimes teams trot out banged up players instead of the good backups. Sit David Johnson, let him get healthy, play Chase Edmonds, and let me win some damn fantasy games already, Pete.
I will say this, though. I can't wait to see Kyler Murray, how fast he is on that turf, though, inside that place. He's going to look like a little joystick. It's going to be fun.
I like the car. I just think 10.5 is too much. I think it's a backdoor.
It's
special.
a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. Arizona. I mean, St. Louis. The Saints have been smashing.
St. Louis. You went through about 8 teams there. St. Louis, Chicago Cardinals. Who else do you have?
Houston Astros.
Portsmouth.
Nationals. I think what has happened is it took about 3 weeks, and this has happened the last 3 years, really. It's like the Saints were doubted on the road. They were dogs in how am I forgetting? Dogs in Chicago. Like, why were the Saints dogs last week? That was stupid. And now they're it's a little bit juiced up too much. So I'll take the Cardinals getting the 10.5. Might lean under, actually, at 49. Chargers at the Bears. Chargers have been terrible. Might just be terrible. Over under 41. Pete, I think you're a sucker here for taking the Chargers.
I'm suckered into the Chargers because I will never, ever, ever, and I'm going to say this again, I'm going to say it one more time, I will never, ever take Mitch Trubisky. Ever. Never, never. He is awful. That offense is awful. The play calling is awful. They don't run the ball enough, and coming out of my mouth, that's unimaginable because I love to throw the football. That offense is putrid. I do think the Chargers have some issues, obviously, but if you're going to give me 4 points, I'm taking it. I think this is the best a field goal game.
You sound exactly like I did last week talking about the Titans offense. And I'm like, that's why I'm taking the Chargers. The Titans are awful. They're the awful offense, awful play calling, awful everything. Well, the Chargers went in and, as Brinson says, peak Charger all over the place and lost that game somehow. I think it's a get-right spot for a mostly healthy Bears team. I would lean to the Bears -4. Chargers are still severely beat up. Chargers don't have a run game, 26th in yards per carry, 30th in DVOA. It's not going to challenge the Bears front seven, even with Akeem Hicks out. I will take the Bears pass D in this matchup as well. 7th in net yards per attempt. They've allowed no 300-yard passers. Phillip Rivers looks like he might be losing a step. I hesitate to say that because then he'll go ahead and play 6 more years and look great. But I think Chicago can have rush success in this game against a beat-up front that's 24th in DVOA against the rush, and that's the kind of game script you need to get a good game out of Trubisky, is if you can run the ball, he doesn't have to throw it 54 times or whatever it was in that stupid game last week against the Saints. I don't know what they were thinking there. So I think this will be the game where Trubisky plays better because he's playing from ahead. So lean to the Bears.
I might be dead, man. I just might not have anything left in the tank. I don't know. That was my Tally Phillip Rivers impersonation, which was terrible. Here's the thing. Get out of here, Phil. You're toast. Phil sucks. Chargers are done. They're washed. They're trash. Their offensive line stinks, and the Bears can rush the passer. The Chargers secondary can't stop anybody from throwing. I'm going to say this, Pete. Mitchell Trubisky, 3 passing touchdowns in this game early on, and then the Bears ratchet it down into first gear, run with David Montgomery, pound the ball, putting their ears back on Phillip Rivers and blow out the Chargers. Maybe the Chargers mount some sort of dumb comeback like they did against the Titans when they have to yank out Melvin Gordon, who's rushing for 1.5 yards per carry, and start throwing the ball to Austin Eckler, which is what they did early in the season when their offense worked. But maybe they don't. Maybe they just suck the whole game and the Bears blow them out by 35 points. The Chargers stink. They're awful, and the Bears are going to thrash them in this game. Everybody's betting on the Chargers. You're a sucker. Bears win big.
I got another stat for you related to the Chargers sucking. They've played 3 straight games against teams with losing records, right, and lost them all. They only led for 3 minutes and 16 seconds combined in those games, and that was in that last game. They barely had a lead for 3 minutes, and then that went away right before halftime. So not a good team. They're losing to losing teams, and that's not what you want to see if you're the Chargers.
They were losing to the Dolphins. They lost to the Steelers and Duck frickin' Hodges. The Chargers are awful. God, I hate the Chargers. I hate them.
And you love them every year. Now all of a sudden you hate them.
I hate them so much. I hate them with every fiber of my being. They suckered me enough. I'm not letting them do it again. I'm not falling for it. They're gonna lose this game by
You
a
had
billion.
the Titans last week. You got a lucky cover. What are you talking about?
They were a lucky cover. The Chargers were winning that game the whole time.
Why would they not throw the ball on the goal line? I never figured that out. What the heck were they doing?
Their play calling was terrible.
Terrible. It was awful.
It's awful. They're gonna get blasted in this game. Trust me. Do not.
Mitch Trubisky's throwing 3 touchdown passes. Is that for the rest of the season or to this week?
First half.
Okay. All right. I don't think so. Go ahead. Put some money on that.
I will bet over on Mitchell Trubisky touchdown passes. I might start him in FanDuel or something. Giants at the Lions. Lions -6.5. Over under is 49. No head to head between me and RJ in this one.
Didn't work out for me last week.
Yeah, it could have.
Right, who do you like?
I like the Giants here.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I do not either. But I like the over. I think this game's going way over. I think this is going to be one of those games where Matt Stafford lights up the Giants. I think the Giants' defense is bad. I think there's going to be a ton of points. I think the Giants will score too. So don't get me wrong. But I think there's going to be a ton of points. So I like the over. And my lean would be to the Lions.
The Lions defense has gotten gashed by the run.
True.
110 plus rushing yards allowed every week, 336 combined in their last 2. Just not good at all. Giants have a great weapon at running back, obviously. Saquon Barkley, probably the best in the league. Plus a quarterback who can run a little. I think we're going to get a little bit more Daniel Jones that we got early in the season when he was running around making plays happen. And New York Giant fan base was like shocked to see a quarterback that could actually move around with his legs. The Giants are second to last in fumbles lost on offense. Detroit defense leads in recoveries. That's just fumble luck. You can't really determine who's, that always regresses to about 50%. So if that fumble luck regresses in this game, we're going to, get paid off here a little bit. Detroit showed they shouldn't get much for home field advantage. 420 plus yards allowed in every home game. Giants offense has struggled lately. 2 of their last 3 games were against elite defenses. I don't think the Lions have an elite defense at this point. I think that the trade of Condre Diggs is going to really, shake them up. Darius Slay came out and said something today, something like everybody feels like, expletive, on talking to a reporter. And he was a captain, and he might not have been a great player, but that's really going to shake up that locker room. And I think they're going to feel a little bit betrayed with him out there. So I don't know that you're going to get best effort from the Detroit defense in this game. So I do think the Giants can keep up blow for blow.
Don't the 8 sacks that they allowed last week worry you a little bit? I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think the Lions are great rushing the passer, but that's 8 sacks in a game. I mean, he held the ball a little bit last week.
It can be an issue, but if you're not getting the sack, you're going to get burned on that secondary. They're going to be distracted. So it's going to be like a blow for blow fight. I do like the overplay in this game, but that's why I think Giants can come back. And even if they're down, 10, 12 going into the fourth quarter, they can get a backdoor cover here.
By the way, since 2011. Games where the Lions were at home and favored by a touchdown or more, the over is 11-5 to the over. You got 16 games there, and if you go back and sort of look at this is why I like the Lions. I just think that the Quandre Diggs thing kind of worries me a little bit. The morale there after that 2 tough, multiple tough losses in a row. Like, how much can you really sustain if you're the Lions? But I think they know they're still like on the fringe of the playoff run. This is a must-win game. The Giants match up really well for them in terms of what they want to do offensively. And I think this is a big time Matthew Stafford game, like 500 passing yards, a couple of touchdowns to Kenny Golladay, a couple to Marvin Jones. He's playing out of his mind right now, Matthew Stafford is. And it's awesome to see, like, especially on the heels of, his wife battling that brain tumor and all that he's gone through in his career. And people doubt him and don't think he beat, good teams, and maybe he can't, but he beats the crap out of bad teams. I think he beats the crap out of the Giants here. I like the over too, so we can throw. So
it's a parlay. It goes into parlay. The over. Yep.
All right, so we got Panthers, Patriots under, Lions over in the parlay so far.
Raiders at the over-unders are going to work out well for us.
Yeah, we're going to be to 17-14.
This is how we lose the parlays. We add.
I know.
But we don't have anything else, so we got to do it. That's our 3. I think that's going to be our 3 games for the parlay. By the way, we'll stick with 3 this week. 5 is unnecessary. 4 is unnecessary. We should really go 2 or maybe just 1.
Instead of putting the normal like $200 on the 5 or 16 parlay we're giving you, put $5,000 on this one. That'll make that.
Don't put $5,000.
I'm kidding.
Not ever put.
Disclaimer: do not put.
Don't put $5,000 on any parlay.
How
about that?
Yeah. No.
Raiders at the Texans. Texans -6.5. The over/under is 51.5. Pete, you're feeling like a points palooza this week, huh?
I do. I think this one's going to be really high scoring. The Texans defense is not that good. You saw Jacoby Brissett carve them up last week, and you saw what Aaron Rodgers did to the Raiders defense. They got all kinds of problems. They've been on the road for about a half a year. This is going to be a problem for the Raiders. I see a lot of points. I think Deshaun Watson will light it up, but I also think that the Raiders will score some points here as well. So I think this one soars over the total.
Yeah, Oakland defense 30th in DVOA and points per drive, 31st in net yards per pass attempt. It's going to be a huge game for Deshaun Watson, I would say. Houston offense is playing well, 5th in points per drive, averaged 485 yards their last 3 games, just running up and down the field. Oakland offense, though, dealing with injuries up front, it's not good versus a talented Houston front, so that would give me a little bit of pause to the over there. Oakland doesn't have the receivers to take advantage of Houston's beat-up cornerback group, so I worry a little bit less about that. They always try to get everything thrown to Darren Waller and run with Josh Jacobs, who's also banged up himself. So my lean is to the Texans -6.5. Oakland offense has been efficient. It's struggling to score points. I think Houston bounces back, deals Oakland another double-digit loss, which has had several of them against good teams.
I like the Texans too, but I like the over more.
I got the Raiders here. I cannot believe I'm backing for the second week in a row the Carr family, or just one member of the Carr family, but that's fine. If you go back and watch that game against Green Bay, the Raiders could have been in that game and should have been in that game if old Blue Eyes here hadn't tossed the ball over the pylon like he said he would 3 years ago if he had another chance, and for whatever reason it didn't keep working out for him. I'm kind of regretting backing them right now as a best bet, but we're already sort of into it. I just think Josh Jacobs is awesome. He's awesome. He's running the ball really well. He's a future star. Darren Waller's a stud. They can wing the ball around. I think that the Raiders keep this one close, like a field goal close. It's I think if I'm getting 6.5 points, I know they've been traveling forever. I want the Raiders there. Is that insane?
Yes.
Yeah, but I took them last week against Green Bay, so what do I know? That was done.
I think the Raiders might win. Is that weird?
Oh, stop it. Did you just mumble that? Say it louder.
No, I won't
say it louder for the kids in the back. You just said, Will Brinson just said he thinks the Raiders might win.
I don't have the trend. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I do know that Houston does play well coming off a loss. So that's another thing that would worry me. I think they'll get their stuff together here and have a big game.
This is one where if you got DeAndre Hopkins, you're starting him in fantasy, obviously, but I would play him in DFS because, as we pointed out with Heath yesterday, when Will Fuller is out, Hopkins eats. And I think this is a big game for Hopkins. Nobody stop him on Oakland. All right, Pete. We got you out early today, but we've already got our parlay in, so that's exciting. First, let's recap your best bets.
Yeah, I got Carolina +5. Again, you're not going to need the points to win in the game outright. I like the Chargers. Don't love them, but I made them one of my best bets on a hunch because I'm going, like I said, never, ever, ever again with Mitch Trubisky. Arizona, New Orleans, I think that one's going over. Patriots, it speaks for itself. I'm not taking Baker Mayfield against that defense. Oakland, Houston, I think that one might even be the best of the best bets. That's going way over. I like the Bills against the Eagles, and I'll take the Giants and Lions to soar over the total too.
All right, and then our parlay.
I'm sweeping today. I'm sweeping. I feel it. I feel a sweep. I got the broom. I have it at home, and if I sweep this week, I'm going to gold plate it. That's my plans for the week. How's that? Does that sound good?
You have a good chance now because you haven't put the kibosh on Brinson yet. Once you put the kibosh on him, that's when the karma fairy comes in.
Oh, it comes?
2 and 6 and 1 and 6.
No, I'm not going to put. You know why? Because he's going to do that to himself.
Put the kibosh. I need the kibosh. That's I've been soaking in your bad energy and just funneling it back like into these picks.
There's a lot of football left, guys. A lot of football left. And we've seen this league before. Just like the league, the good teams go rotten, and then pretenders emerge and contenders emerge. And right now, a pretender is leading our 3-team race here, and the contender on the bottom will emerge as the season comes along. So wait for me.
Pete thinks he's going to go Colts like 10 wins in a row, like what it was last year, whatever.
That's 10 in a row.
Pete, you're like, I'm going to sweep this week. Maybe you should have 4 best bets instead of 7.
No, I'm getting 7-0. 7. That will be a 7 on the top next week, 7-0, and we will be raving about my turnaround in the middle of the season. And you know what it means, Brinson? What time is it?
Didn't the leaves go brown?
Yeah, aren't the leaves in Raleigh turning brown?
The leaves have pulled a Groundhog Day, and they saw their shadow and went back for 6 weeks. The way Pete's been talking about these leaves.
Yeah,
but you really can't. You know what I like to say. I always like to.
Are you the singular clause of global warming? Your picks?
No, they might be. They might be. Hey, you know what I like to say? You can't really tell anything in the National Football League until Halloween. And Halloween's next week. So this is the start of my turnaround this week. 7-0. 7-0.
Good luck.
Not 6-1. 7-0.
Good luck.
Not 6-minute abs. 7-minute abs.
7-minute abs.
What was I going to say? And I forgot what I was.
No NC State game for you tonight? Nothing?
No,
Are they done? They're terrible.
They stink. Yeah, they stink.
Yeah.
We got blown out by Boston College. I think we're
Texas.
off
How's Texas last week? Were they good? No.
Barely beat
They
Kansas.
squeaked out.
I know. And then the Sun Devils, of course, their season's over. They lose to Utah.
They got blasted by Utah.
No, they didn't. It was a 0-0 in the third quarter.
What was the final score?
They lost by 10, I think, or something, but it was closer than you think. It was. Maybe they lost by 14. They get a late touchdown. They had the ball late. They had a chance to cut it to 7, I think.
Let's see. That final score was 21-3.
Yeah, but it was late. I'm telling you, they got late touchdown. So it wasn't that bad.
NC State got a 50 burger hung on it by Boston College.
I need to call Ray Anderson and tell him, Ray, it's nice and all. Herm's great. I love what he's doing, but this 8-7 wins does nothing for me. Got to cheat.
RJ, have you ever heard the story about Pete in St. Elmo's at the Combine with Ray Anderson?
No, I don't.
He's the AD. He's the athletic director at Arizona State. Used to be.
Used to be former NFL VP of was it officiating? Or he was like.
Well, no, he was with the Falcons for a long time. He was an agent for a long time, and then he worked for the league office for a long time. Well, now he's the AD. And I went in and I go, Ray, it's time.
No, Ray is sitting there having cocktails with like people in St. Elmo's, and
it was Merton Hanks. It was Merton Hanks.
And Pete walks up and he goes, Ray. And Ray's like, oh, hey, Pete, what's going on? He goes, when are you going to start paying my players? You got to start paying the players. You got to cheat to win. And Ray's like,
I just want one. Before I go in the grave, I just want to sit on the 50 at the national championship game. That's all I ask for. That's all I want. It's the only team I root for. I don't root for any other team. Just get me on the 50 at a national championship game. Please. That's all I want.
Don't hold your breath.
I'm not holding my breath.
Might I suggest rooting for Ohio State or Clemson or Alabama instead?
Okay. Well, yeah, I get your point. Or Oklahoma. To throw them in there, too. As RJ found out a couple weeks ago.
Don't root for Oklahoma.
As RJ found out a couple weeks ago.
We will have to stop being friends.
As he found out a couple weeks ago.
All right, Pete's got to get out of here and go to Sportsline, the show on CBS Sports HQ, our 24/7 streaming sports network. You should be watching that. I'll be on there. 7-0 for Pete is what he's saying. 7-0.
He's saying he's going 2-5. It looks like.
No, 7-0. I'm going 7-0.
7-0. Freeze frame that. All right, Pete.
All right, guys.
All right, welcome back to the Pick Six podcast. It's a break. We're coming off a break. Pete Prisco has disappeared. He's gone. He's left us, RJ. What are you going to do? Myself and RJ White here. Reminder, you can watch this show on youtube.com/CBS Sports. Hit the videos button when you get there. Find the green background. Most of them are the Pick Six podcast. It's called branding, RJ. It's our brand. Got a big green logo behind you. And usually I'd be wearing a big green Pick Six podcast shirt, but I'm not today. Let's get through the rest of the games. Bucs at Titans. Titans -2.5. The over-under is 45.5. Hello. We have, excuse me, we have what Chip Patterson, Tom Fornelli, and Barton Simmons call on their Cover 3 podcast when they do their picks every Friday. It's a great show. I highly recommend you subscribe to that. Part of the CBS Sports Digital Podcast Network. Lock Unity. RJ with the Bucs. I've got the Bucs as well. I'll let you go, but I would say for me, it's basically the Titans are up and down. I don't trust the Titans. I don't think they're very good. I think Tampa's defense against the run is very good. This is going to force Ryan Tannehill to pass the ball. They're going to try and force feed Derrick Henry up the middle as they did against the Chargers. It's not going to work. And Tampa Bay and Jameis Winston coming off a bye with Bruce Arians extra week to prepare have a big game. I assume you agree somewhat in regard to that.
Yeah, the line says the teams are even. I think the Bucs are clearly the better team. They have an elite rush defense, first in yards per carry, and they could put the game on Tannehill's shoulders, like you were saying. I don't think Derrick Henry has a big game. Tennessee's faced a lot of limited offenses. They've gave up 422 yards to Atlanta, though, and Bucs can have that kind of success with their passing game. Tampa's played a lot of good teams. The key thing in there is their schedule's been great. San Francisco, Carolina twice, Rams, Saints. I mean, they're better than their stats, and they're better than the record that they've showed. Tampa Bay coming off a bye with Jameis Winston. I went back and looked since he was a rookie coming coming into the league. Got 479 yards of offense at Washington in 2015. They got 513 yards of offense at San Francisco in 2016. Didn't have a bye in 2017 because of the hurricane. Their bye was week 1, so technically, not really a bye. And then 510 yards at Atlanta in 2018, or against Atlanta in 2018. So he knows how to come off his bye, look and recharge. I know he was terrible in that game before the bye in London. We'll just, mark that off to don't ever bet on UK Jameis Winston ever again. And I think we could trust him here. I think he's going to have a big game. So Bucs over the Titans, I think it's my bet, one of my best bets. It might be my best bet of the whole week. So I love them too.
What if you had to, because I think that's actually an interesting pivot point in terms of DFS. I don't think, given how he played in London, given the Matthew Stafford matchup, amongst other pretty good matchups, you have Oakland and Houston. Like, I think people will be on different quarterbacks. Jameis would actually be a really nice little contrarian play. Which wide receiver do you think matches up best with the Titans in terms of feeding him between Mike Evans and Chris Godwin?
I would give it to Godwin. Godwin's having a great game. I think he's second in the league still in rushing, receiving yards, even though he's coming off a bye. So, that's crazy how much he is ahead of the field. So, I would just go with him and, figure out that they'll make it up. Mike Evans hasn't looked completely, all there. So my trust is going to be in Godwin to have a huge game and some of the secondary. If he's going to throw for 400 yards or they're going to have like a 500-yard offensive game, you figure everybody's going to eat. But Godwin's probably the best play there.
Okay, I like it. Next game. Seahawks. By the way, double best bet for RJ and I there. We should have asked Pete. Debo had a note in there to look to see if he wanted to put in the parlay. Should we text Pete or should we just let it ride?
Let's just let it. We're already at 3. We don't want to push our luck.
I'm with you. Seahawks. By the way, my moneyline parlay that I'm going to put together tonight for the site tomorrow. Moneyline dog parlay. Panthers, Buccaneers, and one of the Raiders or maybe I think it's Panthers, Buccaneers, and Eagles. That's a winner. That's just those 3 dogs are going to win outright.
I don't know about the Eagles.
All right, fine. I'll find somebody else. I don't want to tread on your people.
Well, I had mine go up on Wednesday, and I'm pretty sure. I know that I had the Panthers and Bucs in mine. I can't remember who. I think I put a third team in there as well, but I can't remember who the third team was. But I definitely had those 2 guys in.
Maybe we should just parlay the Panthers and the Bucs, and just not get can you do a round robin? Maybe.
Yeah, you could try that. I think I mentioned, if you don't like one of my 3 teams, take them out, and it's still a pretty solid one between plus 550 and plus 750. But Panthers Bucs is probably the best one. I'm just going to win for a little bit more of a payout. If I don't remember exactly how much it was, but maybe getting up to that 14 and 19 range.
I'm just trying to hit one of these stupid moneyline parlays, and Pete was emphatic, according to Debo, who asked him about it. Said Debo sprinted out there, said, "Pete, you want in on this moneyline parlay?" He said, "Hell no." So he's out on the Bucs. All right. That's even better. We like Pete when he's out on the pick. Seahawks minus 6.5 at the Falcons. Over under set at 53.5. This is, again, we're recording this on Friday or Thursday evening. This is the line for the super contest. It's off in most places as they wait to find out about Matt Ryan. He did not practice Thursday. My best guess, RJ, is that Matt Ryan does not play in this game and that this line ends up being, when it quote unquote opens, is somewhere along the lines of 10. Seahawks minus 10. I would bet this is a consensus line with if Matt Schaub plays for the Falcons, a consensus pick in the super contest because of the value. What do you think?
10 might be a little high for me to open there. It's not like the Falcons are playing well anyway, so I don't know how much you can mark them down from a team strength perspective because you already have them pretty low. I could see it, 6.5 is maybe a little low, so I could see it maybe 7.5, but 10's a little much for me. I would come in on the Falcons pretty hard because it's not like they have a wet behind the ears rookie playing quarterback. They have a guy that knows the offense and has been there for a while. So
you would have the Falcons led by Matt Schaub as a best bet.
A plus 10, yeah. In this line, 6.5, my lean is to the Seahawks, not knowing what's going to happen with Matt Ryan. But take that with a grain of salt because I've been off on the Seahawks all year. They've been covering on the road. They've been terrible at home some reason, and that's flipped to what usually happened. But Atlanta's a train wreck against the pass, 31st in DVOA, 30th in yards per attempt. You don't need me to tell you that Atlanta has a bad defense. Seattle's had 400-plus yards in 4 of their 7 games. They're number 2 in passing. I think they could throw it all over Atlanta. Atlanta's defense is also last in plays per drive, yards per drive, points per drive, percentage of drives allowing a score, turnover percentage, just the worst defense in the league by far. I think the Seattle offense rolls. I think Atlanta offense will have trouble keeping up, even if Matt Ryan plays, because obviously he's dealing with an injury, and they don't have a run game to lean on. So this seems to me something like, 31-21 Seahawks. So I would go and take the Seahawks here.
I'm trying to look it up really quickly just because I want to see what it is, but I want to say that Russell Wilson, when he plays against the I feel like he plays well in Atlanta. Does that seem anecdotally to make sense to you, or am I crazy?
I don't know. It probably can't be that many games. Did he have a playoff game in Atlanta where he balled out, and that might be what you're thinking of?
Broke the rookie record for passing yards in the playoffs, in that game where they lost, and then the Falcons went on to lose to Colin Kaepernick. Okay, so Russell Wilson in his 3 games on the road against the Falcons, he's actually 1-2, including the playoffs, but he has thrown 4 in his last 2 games. All right, never mind. I'm just wrong. I'll just move on. I'm wrong. I think he has a big game in this one though.
Is a better Russell Wilson right now than in those games, though. He's playing the best that he's played. Apart from that one pass, I missed that Seattle. I said flip the 5th and 6th pick, and I'd be 4 points ahead. My 5th pick last week was Seattle, and that really frustrated me because when they went downfield and they went vertical, they got anything they wanted to against Baltimore. The offense just humming along. Then they started going horizontal, running horizontal, throwing horizontal. Disaster. That's where you had the pick 6 from Russell that he hadn't thrown a pick all year. Throws a pick 6. That's where you had the short pass to DK Metcalf where he just dropped it. It wasn't anything that the Ravens did defensively. He just drops it and they return it for a touchdown. So 14 points off of 2 defensive scores there that you wouldn't expect from that game, and they lose by 14. So I don't know why they got away from the plan of throwing vertical, because they were just carving them up in 20 yards, 15 yards every single time. So I'm still waiting for someone to explain it for me. I don't know that I made that bad a pick. I know Seattle obviously lost that game pretty easily, but the game plan just kind of screwed me there at the end. I don't know why they got away from what was working.
I like Seattle too, and then at the last second I was like, why do I like Seattle? But it was already in, so it didn't matter. Jets at Jaguars. The Jaguars -6 coming off a stomping of the Cincinnati Bengals. The Jets coming off a humiliating game on Monday Night Football. Over under 41. I mean, I don't have this as a best bet, but I kind of think it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's just everyone's going to be on the Jags, and no one's going to be on Sam Darnold with a toenail that just got pulled out, and he's seeing ghosts and was humiliated on Monday night. Don't you think this is an obvious zig when people are zagging?
Yeah, as we have it for the 6 in the contest, I think it probably gets a 7, and that's when you play the Jets. Because I don't think the Jaguars are gonna blow out a lot of teams. My better lean's probably.
It's at 7 locally right now, so yes.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's when you play the Jets. It's at 7. For under 41 is probably a little bit better of a play. Jets defense has played well most of the year, and it's not like they played poorly against the Patriots. We were saying earlier, that was just the Patriots defense took over. The Jags need to run to have success. They're number 3 in yards per attempt, but the Jets can slow them down because they're number 2 in yards per attempt on the defensive side. I know it's hard betting on the Jets offense after that Monday night game, but the Jacksonville defense doesn't force turnovers like New England does. They're bad versus the run, 27th in DVOA. I think this is a Le'Veon Bell game, and he gets going. He's going to help take the pressure off Sam Darnold, keep us a close, low-scoring game where the Jets maybe aren't lighting up the scoreboard, but they're at least getting to midfield and punting, and it's a little closer, lower-scoring game. So both these better than their offenses. That under is the best play here for me, but it's still just a lean. I wouldn't make it a best bet.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that Le'Veon Bell thing. I'm playing him in DFS. I think that you look at Jacksonville, they don't stop the run very well. And Le'Veon Bell's played really well. He's just gotten a bad hand of cards. His quarterback had to leave because of mono for most of the season, and then as soon as he comes back, it's like, welcome back. Here's the Patriots, and you look at that, rush yards per game, 21st. Jaguars defense just isn't very good anymore. It's amazing how fast that thing fell off a cliff.
They can rush the passer though.
They can rush the passer. Got a bunch of sacks. That's why you run the ball. We'll see if Adam Gase has a modicum of intelligence. Bengals at the Rams, and I'm not going to do a London accent. Bengals at the Rams in London. Cheerio. Rams -13. Couldn't myself. Hey, mate. Little bit of spot of Rams.
All right, then.
That's much better. Rams -13 against the Bengals. Over under is 48. I've been saying it all week. It's a Darrell Henderson time. Darrell Henderson breakout game. 100 yards, 2 touchdowns for Mr. Henderson in this game as the Rams roll. I can't take it as a best bet. It's too many points. I do, however, like this, and people are listening to this on Friday, so hopefully you listen to the previous podcast because I mentioned it on the Thursday show. Vikings, Patriots, Rams teaser. It's pretty obvious. 10.5 points. I did it 10 points, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how that fails, so I think that's a good play.
Well, I'll let you know next week.
Yeah, mine leans to the Rams. Cincinnati doesn't do anything well. I don't have much faith in them here against the number 4 DVOA defense. The Rams defense per DVOA is playing better than I think our eyes tell us. So maybe we expect a few better games coming for them, especially with Jalen Ramsey. Cincinnati's offense last in rush efficiency, 27th in pass efficiency. Defense is 31st overall. I mean, the Bengals don't do anything well. Rams got right against the easy opponent in Atlanta after a tough run, and I think that'll continue here. I think Wade Phillips versus Zach Taylor is just, he's going to eat him for lunch. He's got to know the tendencies there that Zach Taylor's going to try to bring to this game. I don't love laying the massive number, but I think it's the only way you play. If you're going to play this game, play the Rams at -13.
All right, I'm with you there. Broncos at Colts. Colts -5.5, over under 43.5, a very low over under. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, again, don't have them as a best bet. There are some barkable dogs out there this week, and I think that includes the Broncos here. Again, like the Jet situation, the Colts just shredded the Texans. Jacoby Brissett looked awesome. I mean, he's on pace to lead the league in passing touchdowns, which is crazy to think about. I mean, look at that, 26 of 39. We're putting this graphic up on the YouTube show, obviously. 326 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 35.5 fantasy points. A monster day for Jacoby Brissett. People are going to want to back the Colts against the Broncos. They're laying 5.5. It's too many points. Indy is not great against the run. You can run the ball against them, and I think when you look at Denver, the only thing they do well is run the ball. Rich Gangarella's got to get it together, though. They were just running the ball up the middle against the Chiefs, hoping to break one. They need to be more proactive about trying to get Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman out on the edge and let them break one. I think they do it here, and the Broncos roll.
I don't know about roll. I wanted to like Indy in this game coming in, but I do think you're right. It's a bad matchup. It's a bad spot coming off that huge divisional win. The Indy D has struggled. The stats would say that they're not that good, but they're obviously were really banged up early in the year. They're getting healthier. Darius Leonard makes a huge difference. Denver's defense is the key to this game because they've been excellent. They're 5th in DVOA and net yards per pass attempt, 6th in points per drive. So even though Indy has a solid offense, I don't know that they're going to be able to overcome that. I think my lean is to the under. I think trading away Emmanuel Sanders helps that because I think if Denver's going to lose a step anywhere, it's going to be on the offensive side, and the defense is playing really well for Denver. So this feels like a defensive battle to me. So I do like that Denver's going to be getting Juwan James back in this game, it looks like, so that could help you if you're looking for that upset bid there. But I'm probably staying away from the line. I'm just going to take the under.
Okay. By the way, very quick breaking news. Literally just happened. Do you want to guess who was traded from what team to what team? Any player in the NFL. You can guess any player in the NFL. I'll see if you can guess it.
Let's see. Was it Robbie Anderson?
No, it's not one of the obvious candidates that we've written about, in fact.
So a non-obvious candidate was traded. How about Chris Harris?
Ooh, I think it would qualify as obvious, but that's a good guess nonetheless.
Well, I'm just thinking of bad players on bad teams that already look like they're selling.
That's the key. That's the thing. It's not a bad team. The Patriots have traded, per Adam Schefter of ESPN, Michael Bennett to the Dallas Cowboys for a 7th-round pick that can go to a 6th-round pick in 2021. We'll cover the full extent of this on the Thursday night wrap-up show after we do that. And people both come out on Friday, but just curious your thoughts on that, RJ.
Obviously they had a situation with him where they suspended him, I think, for a week, and for something he said, it looked like the relationship was going sour there. So I guess it's a situation where they're just going to get what they can from him. That defense doesn't need him. I don't know. We talked about how great their coverage is, and they're really playing the best they've ever played. So he's obviously not the straw that stirs the drink for that defense. So if you're getting something for a player that doesn't really have a spot on a team that's already playing well, why not trade him?
Yep, I agree completely. Plus, you don't want to mess up the mojo. They got a mind meld going on in there. If you want to hear the full analysis, full breakdown, myself, Sean Wagner-McGough, John Breach, Ryan Wilson, look in your feed. There'll be a Thursday night recap, and we'll break down the Michael Bennett stuff. We'll chat it there after Vikings-Redskins, which, if it goes according to plan, should be a fairly short sort of recap. Moving along. Packers, Chiefs. 2 primetime games left to talk about. Packers and Chiefs. I was stunned to see you have this as Chiefs +4 as one of your best bets. Explain to me. I mean, the donkey public plays the Packers -4 on the road with no Patrick Mahomes. Explain to me why you like the Chiefs.
Yeah, the look ahead was Chiefs -3.5. That was obviously when Patrick Mahomes was healthy. It swung 7.5 points. It was actually when I, initially came up to 4.5. So hopefully people got it at 4.5 because 8-point swing. That's a lot of too much. Mahomes running around with bum wheel with his ankle already before the injury, and that offense wasn't as explosive as it has been. And then you look at now who do they have? Obviously, this is a downgrade. I'm not going to try to talk up Matt Moore like he's a great quarterback. But Andy Reid is a great coach. You can scheme up success with a backup quarterback, especially coming off long rest. They played the Thursday game. Chiefs offenses had been above average before Mahomes got there, so it's not like this team was 2-14 every year and struggling, and Mahomes, started lighting it up, and now all of a sudden they're a Super Bowl contender. Andy Reid knows how to put a good team together. The Green Bay defense is 26th in yards per rush. I think Kansas City can have success on the ground, take the pressure off more. That offensive line looks like it's getting healthier. Kansas City defense has played surprisingly well versus the pass. We didn't expect them to be good against the pass, but they're 4th in pass DVOA, 8th in net yards per attempt. And then Green Bay's value is a little higher than it should be. They've played 5 of their last 6 at home. That inflates their perceived value overall because they're getting to play in advantageous situations. Their one road game was a win in Dallas. That was obviously a great showing for them, and I think some of us kind of called that. I don't know. I don't think we picked the game at all, but you can kind of see that coming because Dallas had those injuries with Tyron Smith missing in the game in particular, and we know how poorly they play. But in that game, Green Bay was outgained 563 yards to 335 yards, so outgained by more than 200 yards. It's not like they played, amazingly stellar football in that game. They just took advantage of some turnovers and were able to win, but Dallas was able to do whatever they wanted against the defense. So I think the Chiefs will have some of that in this game. I think they'll be amped to get a win and right the ship, even with Mahomes not there, and kind of stay on that path of trying to get the bye. So Packers going on the road, I think is a good time to fade them. Chiefs +4 is the best bet.
All right. What would you do? I asked Heath Cummings this. What would you do if you were choosing between Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers in fantasy?
I would take Stafford probably. He's played well. Better matchup because the Kansas City defense has played better than we thought. So I don't know why you just don't go Stafford there.
The Chiefs are like 11th in DVOA or like 13th in DVOA on defense. That's really surprising.
Because I think it's 4th for pass and like 30th for runs. You can run on them, but
well, maybe that's the thing. Is like if the Packers win this game, it's just a full-on Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams assault. So all right, there you go. One more game to get to, and it is a scorcher.
Best game of the week.
Best game of the week. Dolphins at Steelers. Steelers -14. Over under 43.5. I believe it's gonna be a Mason Rudolph game. No Duck Hodges, as far as I know. You love the Dolphins in this spot, don't you?
Yeah, you sure it's Mason Rudolph? You sure it's not Ben Roethlisberger who's playing quarterback? Because they're favored by 14 points. I just assume that Ben Roethlisberger is playing quarterback in this game.
It is a large amount of points. I'll tell you that. It is a large amount of points.
I know we're scared to play Miami. I've stayed away from them. I played them twice in the contest and lost, and I said never again. I'm probably going to play them this week. They've had 2 straight covers now. I think we can play them in good spots when Ryan Fitzpatrick's quarterback. The offense has played better, put up 381 yards against a good Bills defense. Miami's defense has been better the last 2 games against limited offenses. Well, you look at Pittsburgh, that's a limited offense too with Mason Rudolph under quarterback. It's not like they've been playing well. The offense has had under 270 yards in 4 of their last 5. They're 22nd overall in DVOA, 21st in points per drive. Pittsburgh passing offense has cracked 200 yards just once in their last 4 games. When you have that kind of limited passing offense, you're not going to cover 14 points a lot of the time. So this is going to have to be another comedy of errors for Dolphins, just turning it over here, here and there, ugly performances back. And that could happen. I'm not going to rule out that Miami just lays a complete stinker, but I think this is a good play here. And then we talked about the away teams after the bye stat. You flip it around. You do home teams after a bye because Steelers are coming off a bye. It's just 42% against the spread, 47, 65, and 6 since 2011. So this was already a good spot to fade the Steelers, considering that the offense hasn't looked great. -14 is way too much, even against a bad Dolphins team. So yeah, that's why Dolphins are our best bet.
I'm with you. It's too many points. I don't want to take the Dolphins, but I wouldn't touch it. It's -14. Mason Rudolph or Duck Hodges are playing like this. They're limited. They can't throw the ball on the field. People are like, Mason Rudolph's got to get this up-tempo, deep ball strike stuff going. It's like, well, how? Like, that's just not going to magically happen. You can't expect it to happen. So I'm with you. I'd take I would take the Dolphins in this spot. All right, let's recap our best bets, starting with one Pete Prisco. Again, mentioned before, but the Panthers plus 5.5, Chargers plus 4, Saints over 49, Patriots minus 13, Raiders-Texans over 51.5, Bills minus 1.5, Lions and Giants over 49. RJ, your best bets. Hello, doggy dogs.
Yeah, I like the Giants in Detroit plus 6.5. Keep that game close. Tampa Bay plus 2.5 at Tennessee. They're going to win that game. Carolina plus 5.5 at San Francisco. That'll be another close one. Kansas City plus 4 against Green Bay at home. I don't think the backup quarterback is that much of a difference there. And then Miami plus 14 at Pittsburgh. Too many points for the Steelers.
I am with you on that. I think it's a big dog week and a big road week. I think this is where the trend gets back. We saw a bunch of road dogs winning, short road dogs winning outright. I hope New York's not one of them, but I've got a similar slate. I think obviously we're against each other. I've got the Lions minus 6.5 against the Giants. I'm taking Tampa Bay plus 2.5. We agree on that one, but Pete does not. The Bears minus 4. The Cardinals plus 10.5 in New Orleans. God, that one scares me, but I'll do it anyway. The Raiders plus 6.5 and the Panthers plus 5.5. We will have our parlay, by the way, is Panthers plus 5.5. Why don't we have these over-unders in this parlay?
I don't know. Because we can't all come to a consensus on a spread very often. And so we're like, yeah, okay, fine. That over sounds fine to me. Let's play that one.
Old public Pete won't let us come to a consensus on these dogs. We have the Patriots under, Panthers plus 5.5, and the Raiders-Texans over is the pick 6 double D parlay that you should check out. Make sure and give us a 5-star review. Make sure and go to sportsline.com/join. Use promo code WHITE to get your first month for $1. You'll get all of RJ's picks there along with a cavalcade of experts. And then make sure and check out on the website, RJ has his piece for the week breaking down a bunch of gambling trends. I will have my best bets plus a moneyline underdog parlay, and we'll have a teaser post. Teaser post. I don't know what I did there. Teaser post on the site as well. So check out all that stuff. RJ, always a pleasure, buddy. Talk to you next week.
Good luck.